At the company's celebration party, I handed the signed millions-pound contract to my boyfriend. However, he turned and gave it to his benefactor whom he had invited. If it weren't for Vera's support back then, our company wouldn't be where it is today, he said. This project is my way of repaying her. My colleagues exchanged awkward glances, while Vera looked at me with feigned pity. Trisha, you won't blame Shayne, will you? He's just too sentimental. I smiled, raised my glass, and toasted him. Mr. Ward, how generous of you. That night, I stayed up to complete the handover documents and attached my resignation letter. The next day, I appeared in my university supervisor's office. Professor, remember that PhD position you held for me 3 years ago? Do you still want me now? Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. The familiar voice of my mentor came through the receiver, filled with a sense of relief. Trisha, you've finally come to your senses. I told you 3 years ago, with your talent. Working for that Shayne Ward lad was an absolute waste. A bitter smile tugged at my lips as I softly replied. Thank you for still wanting me, Professor. As I hung up the phone, I felt the weight that had been pressing on my chest for 3 years finally lift. The living room door swung open. Shayne stumbled in, reeking of whiskey and brimming with misplaced pride. His brow furrowed as soon as he saw me. Who were you talking to? He demanded. You left the celebration party halfway through. How do you think that made me look in front of Vera? I stared at him silently. Shayne stepped closer, his tone becoming self-righteous. What, still upset about the project? Trisha, you can't be so petty. He launched into another one of his lectures. Vera did me a favor back in the day. Now that we're successful, isn't it right to return the gesture? Why can't you understand that? My gaze remained steady as I recalled last week's business dinner. The sleazy investor, pushing glass after glass of whiskey towards me. Shayne, grinning beside him, boasting about my alcohol tolerance. That night, I ended up in hospital with a bleeding stomach, retching violently in the bathroom. Meanwhile, he was elated about securing the investment. I looked at him earnestly. That project was something I fought tooth and nail for. The company is mine. He interrupted me directly, his tone very impatient. How I decide to run it is my business. As my girlfriend, you should be supporting me, not quibbling over profits and losses. Realizing he might have gone too far, he approached me, softening his tone as he tried to embrace me. Come on, don't be like this. I know you've worked hard, but you need to see the bigger picture. You can't just focus on short-term gains. What I'm doing is for the reputation and future of our company. I'd heard this spiel for 3 years. Every time I poured my heart and soul into the company, he'd use the phrase bigger picture to dismiss my efforts. I gently pushed him away, feeling a chill settle in my heart. He never saw my wounds, only my supposed pettiness. He never remembered my sacrifices, only took them for granted. I was exhausted. Truly exhausted. If he thought I couldn't see the bigger picture, then perhaps it was time for me to step out of his grand and glorious future. In the middle of the night, I was awakened by the sound of vomiting from the living room. It was Shayne. He was drunk and calling my name. Trisha, water, hangover cure. This had been the routine for the past 3 years. No matter how late he came home from business drinks or how drunk he was, I would always get up and prepare everything for him. I rolled over, took out my earplugs from the bedside table, and put them in. Instant silence. I thought to myself, his stomach would be someone else's concern from now on, his benefactor's. My phone screen lit up. It was a WhatsApp friend request. The profile picture showed Vera's delicate face. The verification message read, "You're Shayne's benefactor." I accepted the request. She immediately sent a photo. In the picture, she was standing in a brand new office, smiling radiantly. A large bouquet of champagne roses sat on the desk, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering an excellent view behind her. That used to be my office. A line of text accompanied the photo. Thanks to Shayne, and thanks to you for your understanding, Trisha. I'll be working hard with everyone here from now on. I stared at that jarring word Trisha, expressionless. I took a screenshot, saved it, then locked my phone and turned off the light. The next day, I arrived at the company on time. I placed the stack of handover documents I had spent 3 sleepless nights preparing, along with my resignation letter, on Shayne's desk. He was stunned. "Trisha, what are you doing?" "Still upset?" I calmly said, "I'm resigning. All the work has been handed over. Every project and client information for the company is in there." Before he could speak, there was a knock on the office door. Vera walked in. Dressed in a Chanel suit, she timidly said, "Shayne, I'm new here and don't understand many things. Could Trisha, could Director Chester guide me a bit?" Shayne immediately picked up the stack of documents I had just put down. A thick pile. Without a second thought, he handed them to Vera. "Take these. These contain the company's most important client information. Trisha has prepared everything for you. Familiarize yourself with it first." A fleeting look of triumph flashed in Vera's eyes. She took the stack of documents and gave me a sweet smile. "Thank you, Director Chester. You're so kind. No wonder Shayne often tells me how understanding you are." I looked at Shayne and that stack of documents. It was the entire foundation built over 3 years. Countless business dinners, and drinking until I had a gastric hemorrhage. Now, he casually handed it over like a new employee training manual. Seeing my icy expression, Shayne frowned and growled, "What's wrong with you? Vera is new. What's wrong with helping her out? You have no sense of the bigger picture." I looked at him and suddenly smiled. The last spark of warmth in my heart was completely extinguished. I only said 2 words. "No problem." Then, I turned and left. Shayne Ward took it upon himself to organize a farewell party for me. He claimed it was to thank me for my 3 years of dedication. I knew he was just trying to appease the longtime employees at the company. At the dinner, he raised his glass and spouted off rehearsed speeches. "Though Trisha has left, we will always remember her contributions to the company." Vera Miller sat beside him, acting like the hostess. She held her glass elegantly, intercepting drinks on my behalf. "Ms. Chester has a sensitive stomach, I'll drink this one for her." She then turned to me with a gentle smile. "Trisha, Shayne is just too sentimental. Don't be upset with him. They played their parts well, one after the other." I lowered my head, pushing food around my plate without a word. Some of the veteran employees who had built the company with me couldn't stand it anymore. Jack from marketing came over with his glass. "Trisha, you must come back and visit often. With you gone, it's like half the company has collapsed." Shayne's face instantly stiffened. He forced a smile and said, "Jack, you've had too much to drink. The company still has me." Vera immediately picked up a piece of fish, carefully removed the bones, and placed it in Shayne's bowl. She said softly, "Shayne, don't overwork yourself. You have me now." Their intimacy, oblivious to others, made the atmosphere at the entire table extremely awkward. After dinner, I prepared to take a taxi home. The car park was dimly lit. Shayne grabbed my wrist from behind. "I'll drive you." "No need," I tried to break free. Vera walked over and stood beside him. She inadvertently raised her hand to tuck a strand of wind-blown hair behind her ear. On her wrist, a jade bracelet gleamed with a soft, translucent light. In that moment, my breath caught. My mind went blank. That jade bracelet. It was the one Shayne's mother had given me the first time I met her. She had held my hand, smiling kindly. She said, "Trisha dear, this is our Ward family heirloom. I liked you from the moment I saw you. From now on, you're our daughter-in-law." She passed away later due to illness. But her approval of me was Shayne's promise to me. Now, this symbol of family and status was on Vera's wrist. Vera seemed quite pleased with my reaction. She stroked the jade bracelet on her wrist, her face wearing an innocent yet apologetic smile. "Trisha, please don't misunderstand. Shayne insisted on giving it to me, saying it was to thank me for helping fund his startup years ago. I really had no choice. I tried to refuse several times, but couldn't." I looked at her, then at Shayne. There wasn't a trace of guilt on his face. He forcibly pushed me into the back seat of the car. Vera naturally took the front passenger seat. The car was dead silent. I finally spoke, my voice like shards of ice, each word deliberate. "Shayne, you gave Mom's bracelet to her?" He glanced at me impatiently through the rearview mirror. "What do you mean, Mom?" "That was my mother. Vera has done so much for our company. It's just a bracelet, what's the big deal? Trisha, can you stop being so materialistic and petty?" Vera immediately pretended to want to take off the bracelet. "Shayne, maybe I should give it back to Trisha. I don't want to cause any problems between you two." Shayne immediately held her hand. His tone was unprecedentedly firm. "Keep it on. You deserve it." I closed my eyes, resting my head against the cold car window. Outside, the city's neon lights flashed by in a bizarre, dazzling display. In my world, love was gone, that was fine. The company was gone, that was fine. But now, even that warmth and approval from an elder that I had cherished for years had been taken away by his own hands and given to someone else. "Shayne, it was you who severed the last thread of affection between us. Today is my last day at the company. Last night's events left me tossing and turning, barely sleeping a wink. Combined with my ongoing stomach issues, I feel completely drained. Yet, I'm pushing through, tying up all loose ends at work with meticulous care. It's not just about professional integrity. It's my final tribute to 3 years of youthful dedication. This afternoon, there's an online meeting scheduled with Mr. Gibson. He's a major client we've been courting for 6 months. Crucial to the company's strategy for the coming year. I've prepared all the necessary materials and am waiting in the conference room. As the meeting time approaches, the key player, Shayne Ward, is still nowhere to be seen. I ring him up. After what seems like an eternity, he finally answers. There's a cacophony of noise in the background, with "Happy Birthday" playing loudly. I furrow my brow. "Shayne, have you forgotten about the meeting with Mr. Gibson?" "Oh, that meeting," Shayne's tone drips with impatience. "Cancelled it. It's Vera's birthday today, I've got to be with her. Business can wait, but birthdays only come once a year. Can't you see what's more important?" I'm left speechless, clutching my phone. He continues. "Trisha, I know you're attached to the company, but you're not part of it anymore. Stop worrying about these things. You should learn from Vera, live a little more carefree." In the background, I can faintly hear Vera's coquettish voice. "Shayne, come blow out the candles. Make a wish. Coming." Shayne promptly hangs up. I listen to the dial tone, my face a mask of indifference. I return to my office, the space I've occupied for 3 years. Every desk and chair here was personally selected and arranged by me when I started. On the wall hangs a team photo from when we secured our first £1 million investment. In the picture, Shayne has his arm around me, grinning like a child. I stare at that photo for a long while. Then, I take it down and feed it into the shredder. Next, I turn on my computer. Besides the official company files I've already handed over, there's much more hidden within. There's my unique business analysis model, built over 3 years for the company. There's a list of all potential clients and network resources, compiled through my personal connections. And there's my advanced market trend forecast for the next 3 years. Never before disclosed. These are the core intellectual assets of my individual efforts. I once thought they would be our shared future. How naive I was. Shayne is right. I'm no longer part of the company. Naturally, my work should leave with me. I move the cursor to the folder I named Future. Without a moment's hesitation, I right-click, shred, permanent delete. The computer emits a soft hum, like a silent explosion. With this done, I pick up my small cardboard box of belongings and take one last look at the office. Then, I walk out without glancing back. Passing the break room, I overhear some new interns gossiping. "Mr. Ward is so good to Miss Miller. It's like a fairy tale romance. Yeah, did you see Miss Chester's sour face? She deserved to be dumped." I walk on without breaking stride. Meanwhile, at the other end of the city, in a glitzy karaoke booth, Shayne Ward, arm around a flushed and happy Vera Miller, is bragging to his friends. My girlfriend? She can't live without me. She's got some skills, sure, but her vision's too small. Always nitpicking with me. It's fine. Women, you know, they throw tantrums. Give her the cold shoulder for a few days, she'll come crawling back. He laughs, raises his glass of whiskey, and downs it in one go. What he doesn't know is that with that drink, he's just swallowed the entire future of the company he's single-handedly destroyed. The first month after I left, the company immediately fell into chaos. It was like a precision instrument suddenly had its core chip removed. Several projects that were previously in progress stalled, due to the lack of subsequent market forecasts and risk mitigation plans. Mr. Gibson, who had been turned away by Shayne, signed a contract with our arch-rival company the very next day. When the news broke, the company's stock price plummeted. At the financial report meeting, the cliff-like drop in the profit curve on the screen pierced everyone's heart. Shayne sat at the head of the table, his face ashen. For the first time, he felt panic. But instead of reflecting on himself, he attributed everything to poor employee execution and poor market conditions. To turn the tide, he spent a fortune to bring in Marcus Fox, a well-known iron-fisted business consultant from City L. After joining the company, Marcus's first task was to conduct a comprehensive project review. He leisurely flipped through all the project materials that Vera had taken over, wearing his gold-rimmed glasses. After less than 10 minutes, he closed the folder. He looked at Shayne and asked, "Mr. Ward, how did this company survive before?" Shayne's face instantly turned the color of a pig's liver. Ignoring him, Marcus began to implement a series of stringent reforms. Daily reports, weekly reports, monthly KPI assessments, project review meetings. Shayne was overwhelmed by countless reports and meetings every day. For the first time, he discovered how many trivial yet important tasks were needed to maintain the normal operation of a company. These were all things I used to do. He had never inquired about them, nor had he ever thought they were important. For the first time, he experienced the true difficulties of entrepreneurship. That night, he returned home exhausted. He opened the door, wanting to find someone to talk to vent. But he found the house empty. Everything that belonged to Trisha was gone. In the wardrobe, her side of clothes was empty. On the dressing table, her usual skincare products were gone. At the entrance, those soft slippers were also missing. There was not a single trace of my presence left in this home. It was only then that he belatedly realized that I had truly left. Not throwing a tantrum, not playing hard to get. I had genuinely left him. He began frantically calling me. The receiver always played that cold message. "The number you have dialed is currently switched off." Facing the empty room, he felt a bone-deep fear for the first time. He was like a lost child, having lost his only direction. The next day, he went to the company with dark circles under his eyes. Just as he reached the office door, he heard an argument from inside. It was Vera and the financial controller. "Ms. Miller, this £500,000 market promotion fee has an unclear purpose. I can't approve it." "What do you mean?" "I'm the director Mr. Ward brought in. I want to do some promotion to help improve the company's performance. And you're stopping me?" "I'm sorry, but these are company regulations." Shayne pushed the door open and entered. Seeing him, Vera immediately put on a pitiful expression, her eyes reddening. "Shayne, oh no, Mr. Ward, look at him. I just wanted to help the company, to do more promotion." Shayne looked at her, then at the vague item description on the application form. His heart tightened. He remembered when I was still here, every expenditure in the company, even a box of staples, was accounted for clearly. Looking at Vera's shifty eyes, for the first time, he doubted this pure benefactor whom he had trusted completely. He colded his face, took the application form from the financial controller's hand, and tore it in half in front of Vera. "From now on," he said, enunciating each word, "any expenditure over £50,000 must be signed by me personally." This was the first time he had said no to Vera. Vera stood there, staring at him in disbelief. Shayne didn't look at her again, turning to walk into his own office. He closed the door, leaned against it, and felt a wave of dizziness. It seemed he had messed everything up. Shayne had completely fallen into a functional longing for me. He began frantically sending me WhatsApp messages. Dozens, hundreds. At first, they were angry questions. Trisha, why are you so heartless? Leaving without a word? Do you really not care about our 3-year relationship at all? Later, they turned into humble pleas. Trisha, I was wrong. Please come back. The company can't function without you. I'll take that project back from Vera. I'll give it to you to manage, okay? Eventually, they became rambling daily updates. The company had problems again today. Marcus gave me an earful. If only you were here. My stomach is hurting again, and I can't find the antacids at home. But all messages were like stones sinking into the sea. Read, but not replied to. After a meeting ended, Marcus stopped the frazzled Shayne. He offered him a cigarette, lit one for himself, and took a deep drag. Through the swirling smoke, he looked at Shayne's bloodshot eyes. Shayne, stop looking. You think what you've lost is just a girlfriend who'd slave away for you? Shayne didn't speak, just kept his head down. Marcus tapped his cigarette ash and hit the nail on the head. What you've lost is the only brain in this company. I've looked at all your previous project reports and market analyses. Those were all your ex-girlfriend's work, weren't they? Clear logic, sharp insight, watertight. To be honest, that level of skill is top-notch in the industry. He patted Shayne's shoulder. Who you fall in love with, who you repay, that's your private business. I can't interfere. But what you absolutely shouldn't have done was to drive away your brain. Shayne's heart felt like it had been hit by a sledgehammer. Brain. He had never thought to describe me with that word. In his eyes, I was just capable, just hardworking. He had never realized what I meant to him, to this company. That night, Vera came to him crying again, apologizing for the funding request incident. She said she just wanted to take some burden off him. Seeing how tired he was, wanting to help. She even took out a bank card from her purse and placed it on the table. Shayne, there's £50,000 in here. It's my own savings. Consider it my personal sponsorship for the company's promotion. Don't be angry with me anymore, okay? She cried pitifully, a sight to behold. Shayne looked at her, remembering the scene years ago when she had used all her savings to help him start the business. His heart softened. The doubt and vigilance that had just begun to rise were suppressed again. He sighed, pushed the card back, and comforted her instead. All right, I know you meant well. Don't do this again in the future. He didn't know. Every time his heart softened, he was pushing himself into a deeper abyss. A few days later, Shayne saw news about me on an old classmate's Facebook. It was a photo of a university campus, with the caption, "Welcome back our department's genius girl to continue her PhD studies." In the photo, I stood under a ginkgo tree, smiling serenely. The smile stung Shayne's eyes. This news was like a bucket of ice water poured over his head, making him fully understand that I truly wouldn't come back. I had returned to the world I belonged to, while he was trapped here. An enormous sense of loss and unwillingness wrapped around him like vines. Why? Why could I leave him and do so well, while he, without me, was in ruins? A twisted sense of competitiveness grew wildly in his heart. He clenched his fists. Fine, Trisha Chester, so you've gone back to study, have you? Then I'll get this company listed before you graduate. Without you, I, Shayne Ward, can still succeed. A year later, I had fully adapted to life on campus. In fact, I was thriving more than ever before. After 3 years of real-world experience, I had shed my student naivety and gained a deeper practical understanding of theoretical knowledge. My doctoral research was progressing exceptionally well, and I had already begun participating in a nationally significant project led by my supervisor. Life had become simple and pure. Every day, I immersed myself in vast seas of literature, rigorous data analysis, and intellectual exchanges with brilliant minds. It felt as if I had been polished anew. I radiated a quiet brilliance that I hadn't even noticed myself. The project leader was Vincent Webb, my senior colleague. 2 years my senior, he was now a renowned young economist in the field. Humble and refined, he greatly appreciated my work. We often spent entire afternoons in the office, debating the smallest academic points. I was captivated by these pure intellectual exchanges. He remembered that I preferred sugar-free iced lattes. But each time he brought me one, he would simply place it on the corner of my desk, softly say "well done," and leave without further disturbance. This perfect balance of respect and boundaries made me feel more comfortable than ever before. One day, a top-tier industry conference was held in our city. Vincent, as a keynote speaker, brought me along as his assistant. In the VIP lounge, I was helping him organize his presentation notes. A familiar voice that made my heart skip a beat rang out at the door. "Professor Webb, it's an honor to meet you. I'm Shayne Ward from Ward Technologies Limited." My hand, holding the documents, paused briefly. I looked up. I saw this man in a suit, his brow furrowed with unmistakable exhaustion and anxiety. Shayne Ward. He saw me too. He froze on the spot. His expression was a mix of disbelief, shock, joy, and a hint of flustered embarrassment. After the conference ended, I was walking towards the car park with Vincent. Shayne rushed out from behind a pillar, blocking my path. He looked at my well-tailored business suit, then at the distinguished Vincent beside me. His eyes instantly reddened. His tone was bitter and accusatory. "Trisha, why haven't you replied to my messages? Who is he?" Vincent glanced at Shayne, then at me, immediately understanding the situation. He nodded at me, mouthing "I'll wait for you." Then, he turned and walked towards his car, giving us space. This courtesy made Shayne appear even more undignified. He persisted, following me. "Trisha, let's talk." "My company now." I interrupted him. Looking at this man, both familiar and strange, I spoke calmly. "Mr. Ward." These two words formed an invisible wall between us. Between us, apart from potential future business cooperation. I believe there's nothing left to discuss. His face instantly turned pale. Shayne finally secured the opportunity to collaborate with Vincent's team. Perhaps he saw my mention of business cooperation as his last lifeline. He viewed this collaboration as the only hope for his company's revival. He probably thought the main point of contact would be Vincent. Until the day of the kickoff meeting. In the conference room of Ward Technologies Limited, Vincent introduced me to Shayne's team. "This is Dr. Trisha Chester. She's the overall project lead for our team's collaboration, and has the final decision-making authority." Shayne Ward, sitting opposite, froze mid-smile. Vera Miller sat beside him, her face perfectly made up, looking at me with amusement in her eyes. The meeting began. Shayne and Vera stumbled through the introduction of their prized project. They attempted to use flowery language to mask the hollowness at its core. I didn't interrupt. I just listened calmly, my pen flying across the notebook as I recorded their words. The conference room fell silent. Shayne and Vera both looked at me with a mix of anticipation and nervousness. I capped my pen. I looked up. My gaze landed on Shayne with surgical precision. "Mr. Ward, I have a few questions. First, your project's core user profile has shifted by 30% in the past 6 months. Yet your marketing strategy hasn't been adjusted at all. Why? Second, the financial report shows your operating costs have increased by 50%. But key retention data has dropped by 20%. Where exactly has the money gone? Third, I fired off 7 or 8 questions in quick succession. Each question zeroed in on the core contradictions and data discrepancies in their project, leaving Shayne speechless, his forehead beating with cold sweat. Vera tried to defend their position. "Dr. Chester, these might just be normal market fluctuations." "Is that so?" I connected my laptop to the projector. A cross-comparative data analysis graph instantly appeared on the large screen. It was what I had stayed up all night to produce. I stood up and walked to the screen, as if I were back in a university lecture hall. My voice carried clearly to every corner of the conference room. "Ms. Miller, this isn't market fluctuation." I pointed at the cliff-like drops on several curves on the screen. This is a management disaster. Your core customer data suffered a massive leak 6 months ago. It went straight to your biggest competitor, Zephyr Technologies plc. Shayne's head snapped up, his eyes filled with shock. How do you know that? Of course I know. I turned to face him. Because the founder of Zephyr Technologies plc was another of my university seniors. And the source of the leak. My gaze shifted to Vera, whose face had turned ashen. Was the market promotion activities you spearheaded, Ms. Miller. To get hefty kickbacks, you collaborated with third-party promotion companies. And sold off our customer data in bulk. I paused. Looking at the deathly pale Shayne. I delivered the most brutal words in the calmest tone. Mr. Ward. Your company's firewall was dismantled by your own hands a year ago. And the benefactor you're so proud of is the very person who introduced the virus. The conference room fell deathly silent. Shayne stared at the glaring data on the screen. Then at Vera beside him, who had started to tremble. He felt his world crumbling. The company he was so proud of, the project he saw as his lifeline. The unrequited love he had staked everything on to repay. In front of Trisha, it all seemed like a complete and utter joke. He had always wanted to prove to me that he could manage without me. Instead, reality had given him the loudest slap in the face. Without me, he was, quite simply, nothing. Including his business confidence and all his self-esteem as a man. Shayne returned to the office, feeling utterly devastated. On his desk lay an envelope and a thick stack of investigation reports. Marcus had left them there. The note contained only one sentence. I've said all I can. Take care of yourself. With trembling hands, he opened the report. Inside were detailed records of how Vera had, over the past year, abused her position to establish affiliated companies, falsify expenses, transfer assets, and leak trade secrets to competitors. Each allegation was accompanied by bank statements and email screenshots. The evidence was overwhelming. Shaking with anger, he called Vera into his office and furiously threw the report in her face. Papers scattered across the floor like a belated snowfall. I treated you like family, he shouted, his voice cracking. And you treated me like a bloody fool. Vera looked at the evidence on the floor, knowing she could no longer keep up the charade. Instead, she let out a cold laugh. Straightening her glasses that had been knocked askew. Her voice dripped with contempt. That's right, I did treat you like a fool. Shayne Ward, have you looked in the mirror lately? Without Trisha Chester, what are you worth? You're the idiot who handed me the knife. You deserve this. For the first time, Shayne lashed out physically. He lunged forward and slapped her hard across the face. Get out, he roared. Get out of my company right now. Vera clutched her cheek, glaring at him venomously. Fine, I'm leaving. Did you think I cared about this rubbish company? Just wait for bankruptcy. With that, she stormed out in her high heels, never looking back. Shayne was left alone in the office. He collapsed into his chair, looking around at the company he had built from scratch. Now teetering on the brink of ruin, beset by internal and external threats. He thought of the only person who could save him now. It could only be her. Clinging to one last shred of hope, he dialed the number he had nearly worn out from calling so often. This time, miraculously, the call connected. But it was an unfamiliar, sweet female voice that answered. Hello, Chester Technologies. How may I help you? Shayne froze, his mind going blank. Chester Technologies? Trisha's calm voice came through the line. It's me. Ah, Mr. Ward. What can I do for you? Shayne stammered. Chester Technologies, is that your company? I let out a soft chuckle. The sound, transmitted through the phone, pierced his heart like a needle. That's right. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. Remember Mr. Gibson, the one whose meeting you canceled for Vera's birthday? He found my new proposal quite interesting. We've just signed a 3-year exclusive strategic partnership with Chester Technologies. Mr. Ward. It seems we're competitors now. I look forward to working with you in the industry. Shayne's mobile slipped from his hand. It hit the floor with a crack, the screen shattering. Just like his world, crumbling to pieces at that moment. He could almost hear the sound of his entire world collapsing around him. Not only was I thriving without him, but I had become his fiercest rival. Without shedding a drop of blood, I had snatched away the client he most desperately wanted to win back. He had lost. Utterly defeated, stripped bare. The sunlight streaming through the Venetian blinds of his office window cast striped shadows across his face. For the first time, it felt unbearably cold and harsh to him. His company eventually went bankrupt and was liquidated. After years of heavy drinking for business and the immense mental strain of the past year, Shayne developed severe stomach pains. He went to the hospital for a checkup. The diagnosis, in stark black letters on the paper, was as cold and clear as a death sentence. Advanced stomach cancer. He sat on the cold hospital bench, clutching that thin sheet of paper, his hands shaking uncontrollably. He thought back over the past 3 years. Every time he had drunk himself into a stupor, it was me who had stayed by his bedside, giving him water, making him rice porridge to soothe his stomach. More than once, he had found her annoying, saying I was too controlling. He had once possessed the strongest support in the world, but he had torn it down with his own hands. Using the last of his strength, he made his way to the building where my new company was located. He wanted to see me one last time. He stood there from daylight until dusk. When I left work, I saw him. In just a few short months, he had become so gaunt as to be almost unrecognizable, all his former vitality gone. When he saw me, a final spark of light flared in his eyes. He took out the crumpled diagnosis paper and handed it to me. His voice was hoarse, like a broken bellows. Trisha, I was wrong. I know I was wrong. If there's a next life. I looked at him, at the diagnosis. In my heart, there was no hatred, no love. Only a calm pity remained. Shayne, I said. Take care of yourself. This is the last time I'll see you. I turned to leave. A warm cashmere coat was gently draped over my shoulders. Vincent had appeared behind me, unnoticed. He stepped forward, naturally shielding me behind him, and spoke calmly to Shayne. Mr. Ward. Trisha and I are getting engaged next month. The last bit of color drained from Shayne's already ashen face. Vincent looked at him, as if remembering something, and added another sentence. His tone remained gentle, but his words cut like a knife. Did you know? Trisha's mentor was Professor Owen, a leading authority in the field of macroeconomics. If she had accepted that direct PhD offer back then, with her talent and her mentor's resources, she might be part of the think tank shaping industry policies by now. For your little company, she gave up the chance to become one of the rulemakers. Shayne staggered back a few steps. It was as if those words had struck him squarely in the chest. A few words echoed repeatedly in his mind. Rulemakers. He had always thought I was just a capable, calculating, small-minded supporter. He never knew that his pride and joy, Ward Technologies, was as insignificant as a speck of dust in the world I had given up. Only today did he realize what an invaluable treasure he had thrown away. He didn't know how he left. Walking along the bustling streets, surrounded by noisy crowds and dazzling lights. Yet he felt like a wandering ghost. He caught sight of his reflection in a large glass storefront window. Pale, emaciated, with hollow eyes, like a specter. Suddenly, he remembered a night many years ago. On a night just like this, I had taken out all her scholarship money. My eyes shining brightly as I said to him, Shayne, let's start a company together. Back then, he had been full of ambition. Back then, my eyes had been full of him. An overwhelming tide of regret and despair engulfed him completely. He could no longer stand. Slowly, he crouched down in a corner of the street, like a child abandoned by the whole world, sobbing uncontrollably.